after that race, after those races, you kind of feel happy that there was some good plate racing, but you feel sad for those drivers who just didn't make it. So let's go ahead and talk about those things. Hey guys, NASCAR Mobile 48 back again, and welcome back to another episode of NRR. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about the duels at Daytona. We'll start off with Duel 1, talk about the top 10 finishers. Then we'll rate the races differently. Like, we'll rate the duel race, the first one, and then the second one. And then at the end of this video, we'll talk about We'll just talk about what happened at the both of end of those races and stuff. You know, with Ty Dillon and Ryan Preece, and with Garrett Smithley and Noah Gragson. So we'll talk about it at the end. But yeah, let's go ahead and get this video started. We'll start off with our winner from last night, Eric Almirola. Finishing it first was Eric Almirola. Eric Almirola had a really decent race. I mean, he led almost every single lap. In fact, he led the most laps in Duel 1. And yeah, that shows you how good of a super speedway racer Eric Almirola is. I mean, he did win at that rain-shortened race back in 2014 in the Coke Zero Sugar 400, even though it was thunderstorm and yeah, but he still had a good car. And then he won at Talladega in 2018 when Stuart Haas just completely dominated that entire race. But we don't want to go back into that because that was probably the most boring Talladega race I've seen in my life. But then Almirola is still a decent super speedway racer. He almost won the Daytona 500 back in 2018, but Austin Dillon got to the back of him, and that ended his night on the last lap. But still, Eric Almirola, I would actually watch out for him. He's starting third on Sunday's race, so he could actually pull off the win. He just has to get through the big one, because we all know the big one is going to happen. We just do not know when, but it most likely happens in stage 3 around like less than 10 laps to go. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, Eric Almirola had a really dominating race, and I loved how he had that quote at the end that everything was going right for Tampa Bay. Huh, Clint Boyer? That was a really good line, because if you guys don't know, Almirola is a Tampa Bay Bucks fan because he's from Tampa Bay, and Clint Boyer's a Chiefs fan for the Kansas City Chiefs, and then the Chiefs lost the Super Bowl to the Bucks. So yeah, that was funny that he made that joke. But still, things are going right for Tampa Bay. I mean, Tampa Bay Lightning won the Stanley Cup. The Tampa Bay Rays made the World Series, but then they lost. Thank you. Go Dodgers. Dodgers, that's my baseball team. But still, yeah, Almirola had a pretty solid race. And actually, just watch out for him at the Daytona 500. He has some potential of getting his 3rd career win and his first crown jewel victory. Finishing second was Christopher Bell. I was about to say Eric Jones, but not going to happen again today. But finishing in second was Christopher Bell. Bell has some potential, guys. I mean, after that race, he was up there in the top 5 almost that entire 60-lap race, and really, he looked like a true super speedway racer. I mean, I don't know if it's the talent from Jones and Bell, or it's just the 20 car. The 20 car is so good at the super speedways. I mean, Matt Kenseth almost won the Daytona 500 back in 2016, but he left it out to his Toyota teammates Hamlin and Truex. But still, watch out for Christopher Bell, guys. I would not be shocked if he was still at the end of the race on Sunday night and could potentially win it. Because this young man, he's just looking to make the playoffs, and really, I think he could make it, but I said in my video that he probably finished 18th or something. I don't know, because I forgot to put in the Bristol Dirt Race, and him and Larson, they were battling for the Chili Bowl back in January, so we'll see. But yeah, a pretty solid race for Christopher Bell and the 20 team. Like I'm saying, guys, watch out for them in the Daytona 500. They could win it. They could actually steal the show away from Denny Hamlin. Finishing in third was Ryan Newman. Ryan Newman, basically, like, he was, like, moving up and down. Like, at one point, he was, like, in third, and then at another point, he was, like, down to 18th in, like, less than 1 lap. I was like, wow, that's probably what happens at a super speedway with, like, less than 30 drivers. You could fall back that easily. But still, Ryan Newman had a pretty decent race, and at the end of the race, when he was going down the backstretch, he was on the outside. He made a mistake, and then it just left the race to the guys in front. And then coming back to the front stretch, to the tri-oval, I see him in third. I'm thinking, what? How did he get to third that easily? If he could go from third to 18th in less than a lap, and I guess it's possible from him to go to, like, whatever spot he was all the way up to third again, like halfway with like half a lap to go. So still, Ryan Newman had a pretty decent race. I also watch out for him in the Daytona 500. A lot of people are rooting for Ryan Newman, especially after that crash that happened almost a year ago. So I would be interested if Ryan Newman won this race. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, we'll see what happens on Sunday. But Ryan Newman, they do have a pretty decent car, so we'll see what they can do on the Daytona 500 Sunday. Finishing in fourth was Joey Logano. Logano, really at the Super Speedway races, you cannot count out Joey Logano, especially at Daytona. He's won the Daytona 500 before. He's won at Talladega. He's won these play races a bunch of times, even more, I think more than Keselowski, but I'm not so sure about that. But still, Logano, he was like in the top 2, or actually the top 3, top 5, I do not know. He was there almost the entire race, so you just cannot count out Joey Logano, especially him, because he's kind of like a wrecky spin house. He can cause some crashes and stuff, and then a lot of people, they get really mad at Joey Logano when it comes to these super speedway races because he's like too aggressive and stuff. And besides, this is a dual race. You don't want to damage your car. You don't want to have to go to a backup car and have to start at the rear end of the field. So we'll see what happens for Joey Logano at the Daytona 500, because a lot of people aren't really rooting for him because they're like, oh no, if Logano wins, it's going to be boring or something, because really no one cares and stuff. I can see that. Logano is basically the Kyle Busch of regular NASCAR, but just in the super speedways, because no one cares if Logano wins. But whatever, it is what it is. But yeah, Logano had a pretty decent race, finishing in the 4th spot. Finishing in 5th was Ryan Preece. Ryan Preece has already qualified for the Daytona 500 because him and I believe it was David Reagan, who already qualified for the Daytona 500, they were able to make it in, and they finished the highest above the 3 drivers in yellow who were supposed to finish higher than the other 2 to get into Daytona 500. And when I saw Ryan Preece down the travel, I was like, no, Ty Dillon, what happened? How did Ryan Preece get up there so fast? And man, it was just weird. I was just thinking, how did that happen? And when I saw that, when they crossed the line, I was so happy for Almirola. When I saw Ty Dillon behind Ryan Preece, I was, oh no. I don't know how Ryan Preece did it, and I don't know the rules about this thing, but I don't want to talk about it much. We'll talk about it at the end, but still, Ryan Preece had a pretty decent race. I mean, these JTG Darty guys, they're really good on these super speedways, so actually watch out for Ryan Preece as well. Really, just watch out for everybody, okay? It's Daytona, and it's just like Talladega. Basically, the play races, they're just so unpredictable. You have no idea what's going to happen. You don't know when the big one's going to come, and you just don't know. You don't know. Anything can happen. So we'll see for Ryan Preece in the Daytona 500, but I would also say he's a contender because he's a pretty decent super speedway driver. And the man with probably the most heartbreaking loss last night, I had to say, is Ty Dillon. You just hated for Ty Dillon. His father, Mike Dillon, he was the spotter, and then I remember once they crossed the finish line, they showed Ty Dillon's crew chief. He had his hands above his head. He was just in shock. He just couldn't believe that they just lost it, and they didn't qualify for the Daytona 500. And really, that kind of sucks. And this is a non-charter team, and they did better than Austin Cindric, who was a lap down. And it was really Austin Cindric's fault that he was a lap down, because that was his fault. He sped on pit road, and then he's a lap down. Ty Dillon's not, and Ty Dillon doesn't qualify. How much sense does that make? Really, like I said, I'll get to that at the end of the video, but that really sucks for Ty Dillon. I bet Austin Dillon feels for his brother, but yeah, that just sucks for Ty Dillon. I saw the sportsmanship between him and I believe it was Austin Cindric at the end of the race. So yeah, that really sucks for Ty Dillon that they're going to be going home, but they will be in the Daytona Road Course race, I believe, and then he'll probably run some other part-time races. So I want him to run the Daytona Road Course, and I hope it rains. I hope it rains on the Daytona Road Course so they can use those wet tires, because Ty Dillon, he's good on those moist tracks. That did not sound right. Oh, shoot. But anyway, Ty Dillon had a pretty decent race. I really wish he would have won. Or not win, but at least advance. But hey, it is what it is. It's NASCAR's rules that really don't make any sense. And this is a non-charter car, and he runs better than the cars with the charter. So, whatever. It is what it is. But yeah, pretty decent race for Ty Dillon, or a heartbreaking one. I don't know what you can say. It's like mixed emotions. Finishing in 7th was Kyle Larson. Larson had a pretty decent race. He was like mid-pack most of the race, and then he came back up at the end, finishing in No, he was 14th at one point, and he came up to finish 7th. So it shows that race kind of showed that Kyle Larson still knows some things about super speedways, because he almost won the 2017 Daytona 500 if he wouldn't have run out of gas with, I believe, 3 laps to go or something. But still, Kyle Larson is a pretty decent driver on the super speedways. I don't expect him to win it, but anything can happen, especially with all these Chevys in the big show. So we'll see what happens with Kyle Larson. But yeah, he still got it in the Hendrick equipment, that they're good super speedway racers. I bet that was the best super speedway race car he's ran in his NASCAR Cup Series career. So we'll see what Larson does in the 5 car on Sunday. Finishing in 8th was Daniel Suarez, and yes, this is a custom car I made with the 2018 Chevy Camaro. It doesn't look the best. Like, you guys tell me how it looks. Like, this is a custom car that I made. Let me know how it looks in the comment section below, because I did this with paint, and it was kind of hard, but it was still fun to make. But yeah, let's get back to it. But finishing in 8th was Daniel Suarez. Suarez, at the beginning, really the beginning of this race, it was very, like, chaotic. Like, there were a lot of moves being made, and I wanted Alex Bowman to fall back to the back of the pack. Also, speaking of Alex Bowman, they don't have any engine troubles. They had, like, a vibration issue, but I'm glad that they don't have to change an engine. They just have to fix the issue. But I think they will most likely start on the pole. But as for William Byron starting on the front row, that is most likely not going to happen, especially with that wreck at Duel 2. But we'll get to that later. But still, Daniel Suarez had a pretty decent car. He ran up there. He was making a lot of moves, and he was just trying to be aggressive and stuff, trying to get up there. So yeah, that shows that Daniel Suarez and Trackhouse, they look like a really good team and a competitive team, and they're just wanting to win a race. So I think that's the motivation that they have and that they need for the Daytona 500 on Sunday. So yeah, a pretty decent race for Team Trackhouse. That was like their first like official race, a dual race. So we'll see what they can do on Sunday, and I can't wait to see what they can do. Finishing in 9th was Michael McDowell. This is not a Michael McDowell. It's just a custom car that I made like a week ago. But still, finishing in 9th was Michael McDowell. McDowell, really, I have nothing to say to him. He was just there at the end, 9th. He was okay, pretty decent. Really, I just have nothing to say. But yeah, he did okay, I guess. But yeah, it's Michael McDowell. I guess he just did okay. He's in a Ford, so he could compete. But just cut it. Just cut it. Just cut it. Okay, just cut it. And finally, rounding up the top 10 and 10th was Jamie McMurray. Jamie McMurray also had a pretty decent race. I mean, he was also making aggressive moves like Daniel Suarez, and I thought at one point that he was going to go for the lead, but he didn't have enough room and stuff. He didn't have the help that he needed. But still, Jamie McMurray had had a pretty decent race. You know, he won the Daytona 500 back in 2010, and I can see that he still got it in him. So yeah, I can't wait to see what Jamie McMurray can do in the 77 car on Sunday, because he could also win. I mean, the last time the 77 car was in the Daytona 500, it was Ross Chastain. He was there at the end until contact with Ryan Preece that ended his race. But we'll see what Jamie McMurray can do in the 77 car, because he could also win. Really, I don't know, but we'll just see, guys, as Jamie McMurray, wow. I'm just impressed with him, so we'll just see what he does on Sunday. Now, let's rate duel number 1. This duel was pretty decent. I think the second duel race was better, even though it had rain in it. But still, I think this one was good, because you had some great racing at the beginning. Everyone was being aggressive and stuff, trying to get spots. And then Eric Almirola and Joey Logano were going at it at the end. And then Almirola just edged out Logano as they were going to the tri-oval. So yeah, that was pretty good. I rate the first duel race, I give it like maybe like an 8 out of 10. You know, because it's play racing. It's like a mini race. Not everyone's trying to be that aggressive because they don't want to mess up and wreck their cars or give it any damage. They just want to play it safe and just see how many positions they can rack up. So I rate this race an 8 out of 10. Let me know what you guys would give in the comment section below. Now let's move on to duel number 2. Alright, now let's move on to duel number 2 of the Daytona Duels. We'll talk about the top 10, we'll rate the race, and then after that, we'll talk about the controversy with Ty Dillon's Ryan Preece, and then we'll also talk about the one with Garrett Smithley and Noah Gragson at the end of this video. Alright, finishing in first in Duel 2 was Austin Dillon. Austin Dillon, he started 4th in the race, and he was up there almost the entire race. He was like running top 5, top 10. He was looking really decent. I mean, those Chevys, they're really good at the play races, so you really can't count them out. Like, Austin Dillon had that last lap pass with Bubba Wallace and made the crossover move, and then it was just a good move by Austin Dillon. Nothing Bubba Wallace could do. But still, Austin Dillon had a pretty decent race, and people are talking about that he could win the 2021 Daytona 500. I would not be surprised either, especially if he wins it like he won the Daytona 500 20 years after Dale Earnhardt did it. What if Austin Dillon won the Daytona 500 again 20 years after we lost Dale Earnhardt? That would be truly special. I just would cry about that. Even though I have not seen Dale Earnhardt race, even though he was popular, but not a lot of people liked him. And it'd just be good for the fan base of NASCAR. So I think it'd be cool if Austin Dillon would win it. But really, I'm rooting for my guy Alex Bowman. Hope he could take the 48 car back to victory lane, especially on a super speedway. Because Jimmy Johnson, he hasn't won in the super speedway since 2013 Coke Zero Sugar 400, I believe. But yeah, still Austin had a pretty decent race, and I'm telling you guys, watch out for Austin Dillon at the Daytona 500. Actually, look out for everybody. I do not know, but still look out for Austin Dillon because he will be starting fourth on Sunday. Finishing in second was Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace came close once again to win a NASCAR race. Even though this race technically didn't count, it would have still gotten him a good starting position in the Daytona 500 on Sunday. Still, he came just so short, and he was really dominant out there. He had Kyle Busch behind him almost the entire race, and he was racing with Martrix Jr. Those Toyotas also, watch out for them, because really, Bubba Wallace, he looks like a better restrictor plate racer than Kyle Busch and Martrix Jr. combined in a Toyota. Heck, Christopher Bell does too! That's just shocking. That shows you that Martrix Jr. and Kyle Busch aren't just all that good. Even though Truex came close with that win at Daytona last summer against William Byron. Still, but yeah, watch out for Bubba Wallace on Sunday. He could also win the Daytona 500. He's probably, really the three dominant Toyotas on super speedways are Hamlin, Bubba Wallace, and Christopher Bell, based on what I just saw in the Daytona Duels yesterday. So really watch out for Bubba Wallace in the 23 car. He could actually get the win. First win for 2311 Racing in their first race that counts, because really the Busch Clash doesn't really count. I mean, yeah, it just doesn't count. But still, watch out for Bubba Wallace in the 23 car, because they could actually pull off that upset. Because it technically would be an upset, because it's the team's first race. But yeah, watch out for Bubba Wallace. Finishing third was Kevin Harvick. Kevin Harvick was also up there. And also, let's just take a break to just see and just appreciate that beautiful silver Busch Light car Kevin Harvick ran. I mean, look at this silver car. This kind of reminds me of the Coors Light car, the Silver Bullet. This is the new Silver Bullet. This is just a beautiful Busch Light car by Kevin Harvick. I wish this was his primary Busch Light car, but his Busch Light car is basically the same since, what, 2017 or something. But still, yeah, this is a beautiful Kevin Harvick Busch Light car. Hopefully we can see this in the future, because it says hashtag the crew. I think that's from the new Netflix NASCAR one-off TV show or something. But yeah, whatever. But yeah, so this is a beautiful Kevin Harvick scheme. Man, that's a beautiful car. But still, got the Busch Light. But that just gives me some Silver Bullet, just vibes there. I mean, that just reminds me of the Coors Light car, but even better. But yeah, that was a good car. I wish that was like a full-time car, but it's like these Daytona things. But back to the video, Kevin Harvick still had a pretty decent race. He's also an upset on the super speedways, because that's not really his thing, but he's won the Daytona 500. He came close at winning at Talladega that one time. But yeah, watch out for Kevin Harvick still, because really, these Fords, we all know that them and the Chevys are going to go against each other, because there are not a lot of Toyotas, but there are a lot of Fords, and especially a lot of Chevys, so it's going to be a pretty big competition between those two manufacturers. But just watch out for Kevin Harvick. He could lead the pack and even give some good pushes, but not as good as Blaney and Keselowski. But still, watch out for Kevin Harvick in the 14, because they could also get their second Daytona 500. Finishing in fourth was Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch also ran pretty well, mostly because he was pushing Bubba Wallace and most of the race, but still Kyle Busch was running up there. So yeah, he's just linking up with the Toyota teammates so they can pull off their strategy, so they can go up there and try to compete for the win. So that's a really smart move for Toyota, but we'll see if they can do it again this year. with the Daytona 500, especially with those Chevys with those new engines who look better and faster this season. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, Kyle Busch definitely a contender after, just winning the Busch Clash and stuff. So let's watch out for Kyle Busch and that 18 team, because they could get their first Daytona 500, but I don't think so. We'll just see. Anything can happen, but he's definitely not faster than Bell, Wallace, and Denny Hamlin, especially the wait. How many Daytona 500s does he have? 3. Yeah, the 3-time Daytona 500 champion. Sorry, but Hamlin still can't beat him. Finishing in 5th was Chase Elliott. Also, just watch out for Chase Elliott and the 19. They're also pretty dominant. We'll see about them. And then his teammate William Byron, hard for William Byron. William Byron was running pretty good. I don't think he ran them. Actually, I think he did lead the most laps. But yeah, William Byron sucks for him at the end of that race. With the Brad Keselowski, Garrett Smithley wreck with Noah Gragson, and then Ross Chastain was also in the wreck. And yeah, that really sucks for William Byron. He had a really fast car, but he'll be having to start at the back, because I doubt they can fix that car. So we'll just see. But yeah, back to Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott also had a pretty decent race. I don't know. Chase Elliott at Daytona isn't really that big of a deal, because he did win at Talladega that one time, but Alex Bowman almost had that race won, and same thing with Ryan Preece. But still, watch out for Chase. He's definitely a contender, especially at the super speedways. Actually, all the Chevys are. Really, I'm just saying that for everybody. But yes, still watch out for Chase and the 19. Finishing 6th was Ryan Blaney. Blaney, he was also a pretty good competitor as well. We all know that Blaney's really good at these super speedways, especially with those Talladega finishes from the last 2 seasons. So Blaney came close to winning the Daytona 500 last year, and he did pretty good in the Busch. I was about to say Busch Clash. He also did good in the Busch Clash, but he also ran well in Dual T-ish last night. So really, Blaney, he's also a big competitor. I think he looks better than his 2 teammates, and Austin Cindric, and Matt DiBenedetto. So Blaney, I have to say, has to be the best Ford coming into this race. Him over Almirola, I think. The best Penske driver and the best Ford coming into this race. So really watch out for Ryan Blaney. They can pull off some pretty big things in the Daytona 500 on Sunday, because really, it's just too hard to tell, but still, watch out for Ryan Blaney in the 12 team. Finishing in 7th was the number 7 of Corey LaJoie. Coincidence? I don't think so. But still, Corey LaJoie, he had to dodge like 2 wrecks. That first wreck with Chase Briscoe, Anthony Alfredo, and Kaz Grala, he almost wrecked into them, but he did make it past, so he did pretty well. And then he comes back to finish 7th, because I think he was the biggest gainer, because he started 17th and made up 10 spots total in that race. So yeah, Corey LaJoie had a pretty decent race. Watch out for him at Daytona, especially linking up with those Chevys. And he has his teammate Jamie Murray, who has a ton of experience on those super speedways, especially with his 2010 Daytona 500 win. So yeah, we'll see what Corey LaJoie can do. I hope for the best. And this is a little bit of a side note, but I like Corey LaJoie's number 7 scheme that he's running for Daytona. I thought he was going to run the Flames at Daytona, but that one he's running, it doesn't look bad. I like it. But if you really look closely and think about it, it kind of looks like the car has a disease. Not the current disease going around, but it looks like it has a disease. It looks like it's sick. Think about that. But yeah, enough slandering his paint schemes, even though it does look pretty okay and stuff. Yeah, Corey LaJoie, but still, just watch out for him on Sunday, even though I'm saying that for everybody, because we don't know who's going to win. Finishing in 8th was David Reagan, even though this is basically Anthony Alfredo, but who cares. But yeah, finishing in 8th was David Reagan. David Reagan, once again, both drivers who've already qualified for the Daytona 500, both finish ahead of the drivers who are trying to get into the Daytona 500 in the duels tonight. Garrett Smithley, Noah Gragson, and there was somebody else. Kaz Grala, yeah. Because really, after that first wreck, Kaz Grala needed David Reagan to get up there. And Larry McReynolds, he called it. Because Garrett Smithley made a pretty risky move, and it was kind of stupid as well. Gregson got involved. Same thing with Brad Keselowski, William Byron, Ross Chastain. And then that's all Kaz Grala needed. That is all he needed. And so he was able to take that car in front of the others and, eventually finish higher, and Kaz Grala was in the Daytona 500. I'm happy for Kaz Grala, but I feel so bad for Noah Gragson, but we'll talk about that at the end. But still, pretty decent race for David Reagan. Finishing in 9th was Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch, not a lot to say about him, except that his 2021 gear wrench car looks ugly because they added like this color orange to the top. So if you're a Kurt Busch fan and you don't like that 2021 scheme, just keep this one, or if you don't have this, just go buy it because it looks way better. But still, Kurt Busch had a pretty decent night. I mean, really, he didn't really do much. He was okay. Got a ninth place finish, so I guess that's okay for Kurt Busch and the one team. So watch out for them at Daytona. That's going to be my line when Daytona rolls around next year, even in the Coke Zero Sugar 400. And finally, rounding up the top 10 was Chris Buescher. Chris Buescher also had a pretty decent race. He is underrated at these super speedways. So I would not be surprised if Chris Buescher wins the Daytona 500. Because he was kind of my pick last year because of Roush Family Racing, how they're pretty decent at the super speedways. But based off of last year, it's kind of a roller coaster of yes or no, sliding up, sliding back, side to side, I do not know, loop-de-loop, whatever roller coaster is. But still, watch out for Chris Buescher. He did decent in the race and stuff, avoided some wrecks, so I guess that's it. But yeah, he got a top 10, so that's nice for Chris Buescher. That's a pretty okay looking spot. He's starting in the Daytona 500. I think he's starting in the top 20. Actually, I don't know. Probably 21st. I don't know. But still, Chris Buescher had a pretty decent race. And now let's rate duel number 2. I think duel number 2 was a little bit more exciting because of the racing up ahead, and you have the race for the drivers trying to get into the Daytona 500 between Noah Gragson and Garrett Smithley. It was just going back and forth between those two. And Kaz Grala was in the mix as well. And David Reagan, he wasn't really that much because he wanted to stay out of trouble and stuff. So, really, I rate this race. I think I give this one a 9. I give it a higher score if Noah Gragson would have made it and stuff. But still, I'd still give it a 9. And really, that kind of shows how much Noah Gragson really needed to qualify and stuff. Because if he would have done better, if he would have done good in qualifying, he probably wouldn't have been in this situation. But it's inspection. It's kind of the guys who built the car, but it doesn't matter. But yeah, I rate it a 9 out of 10. Let me know what you guys would rate duel number 2 in the comment section below. And now let's talk about the 2 controversies before we get out of here. And it still pains to watch, but no hate on Ryan Preece. He didn't do anything wrong. It's just I don't get how it makes sense for, if you qualify better than the other drivers and you finish ahead of them, why don't you let the 3 drivers decide, not let the qualifying times decide? That's kind of a, I'm not trying to be rude to NASCAR. That's kind of a BS call there. So I think Ty Dillon should have made it. And besides, Austin Cindric was a lap down. That was his fault because he was speeding on pit road. And then and they still said Austin Cindric qualified higher than Ty Dillon. I know that's a NASCAR rule, but I don't really pay attention to the duels that much that often. But still, I kind of find that a bit BS. Ty Dillon should have made the Daytona 500 hands down. No disrespect to Austin Cindric. He was my prediction to make it into Daytona 500. But really, I just think Ty Dillon should have made it. It was heartbreaking because his father was the spotter and his crew chief was just shocked and stuff. It was just heartbreaking. And that picture at the end with Ty Dillon just looking sad. I couldn't look at it again. But you all know what it looks like. As you see in this clip, you got Ty Dillon right now running in the 5th spot. You got Ryan Preece in 8th. Everything was going well. I thought Ty Dillon was going to make the Daytona 500. It seemed everything was good, and I was paying attention to Eric Almirola. But then Ryan Newman moves to the outside of Ty Dillon. Dillon could have gone to the inside and blocked, but it was too late. And then guess who was behind Ryan Newman? The other Ryan. And then Daniel Suarez with that move, and that was basically it. And that just really pained to see that, but still, Ty Dillon, that was just a heartbreaker at the last second. But yeah, it was a heartbreaking moment. So yeah, that was the controversy I want to talk about. Now let's talk about this final controversy before we get out of here. Yeah, here's the photo, but yeah, it was just sad to see Ty Dillon all like that. When I just saw that from Twitter, I was just thinking, oh my goodness, that just hurts even more, because he was racing his butt off, and really, when I first saw that paint scheme on like a render, I was thinking, that looks ugly, and now when I look at it on track, it looked pretty good, but it sucks that that car won't be going to the Daytona 500 on Sunday. They'll be going home. But still, yeah, Ty Dillon, I think he did deserve to make the Daytona 500. No disrespect to Austin Cindric, but yeah, that just sucks, guys. That just sucks. Yeah, in this wreck, you got Garrett Smithley moving to the inside.
and it hits Keselowski. Nowhere for Noah Gragson to go. I don't know whose fault that would be. Kind of Garrett Smithley making over aggressive move. Keselowski not seeing him. Keselowski had a rear view mirror for a reason, and got a spotter for a reason. And then William Byron had nothing, nowhere to go, nothing he could do, and it sucks that he has to start at the back of the pack. But let's look at this one more time, because I just want to show, because really it was kind of also on the fault of Keselowski's spotter, because you have Fincham with the huge run, moves to the outside. You got Keselowski moving down and stuff. I don't think you should have been making that move. Really, I don't know who to blame, but still, it really sucks for Noah Gragson. Had nowhere to go and nothing to do.
Still, that was a heartbreaking loss there for Ty Dillon and Noah Gragson. Nothing that he could do. He was running pretty well. I really wish he would have made the Daytona 500 for Mark Beard, who just passed away not too long ago. But yeah, that's gonna end it. Thank you guys so much for watching. This was a pretty long video. We got our next video for the Daytona 500. Can't wait for that race. The Truck Series race is later tonight. Can't wait to see that one. But yeah, that's about it for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you all next time. Peace out.